Hello, friends, and welcome back to Sunshine Strategies Radio. My name is Jen McMillan, and I am the founder of Sunshine Strategies and your host for the podcast today. I had some sunshine when I first started the podcast, but now it's a little chilly, so I apologize if I sound a bit cold. It's been a crazy day in the news today. So before we jump into that, there's something that I have been thinking about and wanted to share with you. So today is more of a narrative rather than what Sunshine Strategies is doing. And then we'll jump into the news. So let's get started with just some thoughts about where my head's been at and where I think everyone else's head's been at lately. Let's be honest. No matter where you grew up here in the United States, you are more than likely missing key American lessons in history. It really is inevitable and well demonstrated by how many people are fascinated by documentaries, historic sites, and podcasts like Letters from an American by Heather Cox Richardson. There simply isn't enough time in American education, kindergarten through 12th grade, to teach our full complicated American history. So, each region, culture, school district, and sometimes even religion select its curriculum based on its own culture, history, and bias. Now, as a rural white kid growing up in the shadow of historic racism in the metro East St. Louis area and in mid-southern Illinois, I wasn't taught much about Black, Indigenous, or even immigrant communities other than my own. Now, there's a lot of reasons to be upset about this gap in my knowledge and in our collective knowledge. But there's one significant reason I'm upset today. At the moment, I've silenced my phone. After the other day hearing the current DHS secretary doesn't even understand what habeas corpus is, and that the entire Republican Party is on board with massive tax cuts to Medicare and Medicaid just to fund tax breaks to our most wealthy people, I needed a break. I needed to stop and try to find a little sunshine, and I needed to find a little bit of hope and resilience. That's why I'm mad that I didn't learn more about American history from the citizens of color. Because some of my favorite stories of hope and resilience come from them. And because Lincoln is never far away, I'm sitting in Old Union Cemetery, visiting a new-to-me friend and hearing a new-to-me story. In this moment that feels overwhelming and cruel, where it feels like democracy is literally falling apart, I needed to be reminded that there is always hope to be found. Now, as a married white woman with a college education and the world's best husband, I'm very lucky, especially if I compare my situation to that of Mr. Aaron Dyer, my coworker for today. Born into slavery around 1816 in Virginia, Mr. Dyer gained his freedom at age 21 and came to Springfield, Illinois. And in 1837, Springfield was this frontier town and a key hub of the Underground Railroad. So Mr. Dyer went to work driving a wagon and team to assist travelers on their way north. As his tenuous freedom hung in the balance, he refused to give up hope for his friends, his relatives, and countrymen. As he grew older, settling down with his wife Harriet, they moved to the town of Lincoln, Illinois, christened by the man himself. Even a progressive town like Lincoln, Illinois had hoped to be, there were still area Copperheads, the KKK, and other hate groups that were making the lives of Black families difficult. Neighbors like the Dyers were mostly tolerated to share the cemetery and water fountains in the county, but this was still an area where sundown towns existed, and folks of color could easily be harmed or removed back down south. yet hope remained. The Dyer family was instrumental in the creation of a vibrant black community in Logan County, including helping to build the Allen Chapel, a historic AME church that welcomed even the great Langston Hughes as a guest. Their family, and it's unclear how many children they had, survived not only local racism and trials, but the Civil War itself and the poverty and uncertainty that came with it. The only reason that I know this is because the hope found in Aaron Dyer found its way all the way to his grandson, Mr. Alfred Dyer. Or should I say Dr. Alfred Dyer? Because some of you might have heard that name before. Mr. Aaron Dyer's grandson was the first black military surgeon serving the U.S., proudly in World War I. How remarkable is that? In our country, the United States of America, we told Aaron Dyer that he was a slave, that he didn't dare hope for freedom. Our country told Mr. Aaron Dyer that he didn't belong in Logan County and they shouldn't hope to find community or friendship. Our country told Mr. Aaron Dyer that his family were second-class citizens and they should never hope to make history. What made Aaron Dyer believe that any of his legacy and that of his grandson were even possible? Hope. That sometimes impossible feeling in the pit of your stomach or even in your heart that what you want and what in Mr. Aaron Dyer's case was needed and deserved is actually possible. Even in the bleak early days of Logan County, Illinois, with so many people relocating here from areas like Kentucky and Georgia, when racism was expected, Mr. Aaron Dyer held on to hope. And because of that hope, our country is the better for it. So as I turn my notifications back on and prepare to tell all of you lovely friends about this big, beautiful bill that has just passed the House, I'm going to strive to be more like Mr. and Dr. Dyer. I'm going to hold on to hope for a better future for me and my grandkids and fight like hell to make it happen. All right. Now that we hopefully feel a little better about the current state of affairs, and I moved indoors where it's a lot warmer. It did start to rain as I tried to record this last section outside. So apologies, we did have to relocate. So today on Sunshine Strategies Radio, I wanted to come give everyone just an update about what the heck is happening in Washington. Because even though Charlie didn't ask this one in particular this week, it's one that we all ask pretty frequently around the dinner table here in the McMillan household. So today, what the bleep is going on in Washington is all about this big, beautiful bill that just passed the House of Representatives and will go on to the Senate. So there's so much in this bill, and it is so large. It is designed, like everything else in the current Trump administration, to just feel overwhelming and hopeless. And that's why I wanted to start today's episode with the story of Mr. Dyer. Because it isn't as dire, pun intended, as one would hope, one would think. But this is serious, guys. I'm going to go through and explain to you what all's in here. And really, this second term agenda and budget from the Trump administration, it's all of the hard rights wish list items in one package. So if there is something that you want that is a progressive issue, it probably is hurt in some way in this bill somehow. So let's just start with the tax cuts that are included in this big, beautiful bill. It makes Donald Trump's 2017 tax cuts permanent and adds new breaks, no taxes on tips, overtime, and includes a Trump savings account for babies. It raises the SALT caps from $10,000 to $40,000, which sounds good, but it really is only a benefit to upper income families in mostly Democratic areas of the country. And in fact, I don't know that even my family would be eligible for this benefit. This bill is cutting social programming to the bone. This will slash Medicaid, food stamps, or the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, as well as clean energy incentives. It imposes strict work requirements for benefits, which essentially will kick off millions from aid. It also somehow expands our debt by including $150 billion with a B for military upgrades and the installation of a missile shield that, from what I understand listening to professionals, will not be effective the way that the Trump administration thinks it will. It also includes $46.5 billion for border security and mass deportations. We've already shown that this is a questionable practice by the Trump administration because there are so many injunctions. There are so many judges explaining to people within the Trump administration what habeas corpus is. This is a very concerning thing that the people that don't understand the basic tenets of our democracy will have even more money to push through their agenda. It also starts to tax big university endowments like Harvard and Yale. It ends clean energy subsidies, which are vital to changing our economy over to a modern, clean economy. And just because it wasn't crazy enough, it includes a reduction in silencer taxes of $200. It just blows my mind that this was put into writing and that Republicans are standing up for this bill like it is a huge win for American families, when clearly either they have never met an American family or they haven't read the bill. So that's just my too long didn't read of this big, beautiful bill. And essentially, it's going to add 4 to 6 trillion with a T to the national deficit over the next 10 years, which, if the Republican Party claims to be the party of fiscal responsibility, that's a huge problem, and you're going to have to reconcile that. It is likely going to cause huge issues in the Senate because there are a lot of people that are in Republican districts that their lives depend on Medicare and Medicaid, and they will be calling and letting senators know that if they do pass this bill and this budget, they will be gone in the next election. And it is not a family first budget. It is a corporate Christmas list, essentially, for all of the wealthiest people in the United States. It is the MAGA manifesto wrapped up in a budget bill. So I know that sounds harsh. It sounds like I am just down on the Republican Party, but it's because I'm very disappointed in this bill. I do not see anything in this bill that's going to help me and my family or my community here in Central Illinois. So if you, like me, don't care for this bill at all, make sure that you call your representative and let them know that you are very disappointed in their vote. Early this morning, I think, is when that vote took place. And reach out to your state senator. Dick Durbin and Tammy Duckworth are our senators here in Illinois. I hope that they understand how bad this bill is for American families and will vote against it. But you might want to call and remind them that we're watching and we really are needing them to stand up for American families right now. So If I got anything wrong in that little too long didn't read, please let me know. I strive to be fair and honest, even if it doesn't sound nice. But I do want to be accurate for people. And if you have a question or a topic for next week's episode, please let me know. I am always looking for ways to share information and help people promote progressive values. So I'm going to wrap it up for today's episode. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.